Gone Racin, VSiN's premier NASCAR betting podcast. Here are your hosts, former NASCAR driver Brendan Gaughan and Las Vegas Motor Speedway's Jeff Motley.
Hello, everybody. Another edition of Gone Racing. Jeff Motley alongside Brendan Gaughan, and it is Vegas week. Vegas week. It is one of our two favorite weeks of the year, racing at Las Vegas Motor Speedway this weekend.
It's the home track cooking for me and you. As everybody knows, right now we're at the South Point, the fabulous VSiN studio right outside the sports book. But this, of course, is Las Vegas. It is our home. I know, Jeff, you're a transplant.
But I've been here 24 years. I mean, I get some cred for being here that long.
No, you get street cred for it, but I mean, I'm OG.
You were born here, yes.
So
you're a native.
This is our favorite week. I mean, come on. This is the week that you and I, if you see us walking around this place right now, it's ridiculous. Jeff's phone's ringing, my phone's ringing. You know, I have Ticketmaster tattooed across my forehead, if you didn't know, and reservations.com. Jeff.
Yeah, the ticket tree in my front yard is starting to sprout.
Yes. Hey, and Mr. Motley, have I bugged you for tickets this year?
Not one. You even asked me for a parking pass and decided you don't need it.
I turned it down. Like this is like I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm getting lucky. I know, Jeff, you're going to hate to hear this. I'm not going to be able to make it.
The fact that we're going to run any part of a NASCAR weekend without Brendan Gaughan, I really think I should just call NASCAR and just call it off. We're not running this weekend. Breaking news right here on Gone Racing. No race this weekend because Brendan can't be there.
Rylan, listen, got to take care of Rye Dog. My Rye. He's got big races this weekend, so I am out of town. I think you guys can handle it without me. I'm pretty sure you and Chris Powell have things well in hand.
All right. We will do our best this weekend, but we will miss you.
If you need me, I'm on just phone call away.
All right. I know where to find you. It's very easy. And I will probably get a text from you if your driver wins, too. So, of course, right?
Mine almost won. I had a good week last week. I don't know about you.
Well, I didn't have a bad week. Let's put it that way.
But who had the best? Hey, who?
We're going to talk about that in the fourth segment.
Ross Chastain's car was low. NASCAR had it out for the
Who had the best? Who had the three-screen right here? Who had the best week?
You had the best week. We'll talk a little more about that in segment 4. That's not a segment 1.
You know what the old saying is? A blind squirrel eventually finds the nut.
Well, exactly. And I do believe most seasons, after about week 8 or 10, Brendan's been in the lead. Where has he been at the end of the season?
Actually, you know what's funny is I have been an amazing opener.
Yes.
And I'm like Ryan Blaney.
You're Ryan Blaney.
Not the closer.
You're Ryan Blaney.
I'm going to be the closer this year. Turn over a new leaf. Going to start strong and finish strong.
But you know what we have to do, Brendan? Before we talk about Las Vegas, we got to talk about last week's race, the final one at Auto Club.
The ultimate race.
The ultimate, not the penultimate, which is one of our favorite words. Pete Pistone, hope you're listening. But the ultimate race at Auto Club Speedway in Fontana. Kyle Busch, they said he was dead. What did Chase Elliott say after the race? He goes, for all those people that said Kyle Busch can't drive, I think he just reminded us all how good he is.
He has been amazing all year long. You go back to the exhibition race at the Coliseum. You go to the duels. You go to Daytona, which we poo-poo the poop out of Kyle Busch when it comes to Daytona because he hates it there. Was going to win that thing. Was in position with 1 lap to go basically. I mean, Kyle has been on fire this year. You and I were just talking to some of the folks at RCR. They said it's amazing what he's brought to the team. And what he brought to bettors last week was some pretty good numbers.
Well, absolutely a shot in the arm for that whole team. And you're talking about the great numbers. He was 10-1 to win. So we got first two races. We've had double-digit favorites to win the race there. He was plus 300 for a top 3. Somebody at this desk had him for a top 3 last week. So got a W there. He won his Group B plus 230, much to the chagrin of the pit crew who had the second-place finisher in the race. But, that guy happened to be in Group B. He was the top Chevy, plus 110. I don't think anybody was really shocked there. Beat Chase Elliott head up. He was the favorite against him as well as Ryan Blaney. So a great day for Kyle Busch. And look, here's the other thing Kyle Busch did. He said, hey, guys, I'm a championship contender right now too. I think anybody that thought that he wasn't going to be a championship contender again, I mean, look, let's face it. He struggled last year. It was a tough season.
Getting a win was, he now extended the record-breaking streak.
He got the win because Chase Briscoe took out Tyler Reddick, and he passed both of them. And
some butts for candy and nuts.
But I guess my point is, it was not a single race last year where Kyle Busch went out and dominated, and he absolutely was the class of the field in this race on Sunday.
Him and Ross Chastain were leaps and bounds above everybody else.
But the last 30 laps,
it was all Kyle.
It was all Kyle.
But what I look at is Kyle Busch put Joe Gibbs on notice, put everybody on notice that hey, listen, don't worry about we all talk about what have you done for me lately, right? Wyatt and his Brad Keselowski, and love for their me and you in the Jimmy Johnson era, now currently the Kevin Harvick era. We all thought Kyle might go down that same road as the Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Johnson. What he started out this year, he looks as good as the old Big 3 year.
Oh, no question. And let's take a look at the whole top 10. Chase Elliott, we mentioned him. He was a plus 230 for a top 3. Ross Chastain rounded out the top 3 with a plus 350. Daniel Suarez, who ran great last year and got an fender rubbing with Kyle Larson on that last restart a year ago, had another strong run, finishing 4th. Kevin Harvick hung around all day. He was never running up in first or second, but he was never too far out of it. Got a 5th place finish. The rest of the top 10, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, Austin Dillon, and Joey Logano. Now, I think a couple things to point out there. Keselowski running well here, that's a big difference than running well at Daytona.
Absolutely.
I think that's huge for him. And we talked about Kyle Busch. Well, look what he's done for Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon has been a contender in every event as well. And I'm talking also about the Clash even.
Yeah.
I know we kind of laughed that off, but Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon both were great.
Second and third. And with a top 10 by Brad Keselowski, maybe a little foreshadowing here, I do believe the pit crew takes the handcuffs off of Wyatt, they're allowed to bet Brad Keselowski.
You give credit to Brad. He spun, went through the grass, and still managed to get 7th.
No, and I will have to say this, that, we always talk about the difference between California and Michigan. And Brad and those Roush Fords are always great at Michigan, but never great at California. Brad did a nice job. But you know what I noticed here, though? We've talked about that. We're talking about Brad, all this. What do I see at the top? Chevrolet, 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 Ford, Toyota, Ford, Chevrolet, Chevrolet.
But isn't that what we said was going to happen at Fontana? I mean, Chevrolets have dominated at Fontana.
We actually know our stuff?
Well, that part we were. I mean, probably the easiest bet of all was the plus 110 on a Chevy to win the race. I mean, the Chevys, and you know what? Guess what? They're not going back there. So for Chevrolet, that's a tough.
That's a bummer for them.
Tough.
But can they do it at Michigan now is the question.
Goodness gracious. And one guy I want to bring up who, boy, disappointment. Guy we thought would get off to a really hot start this year, Kyle Larson.
Yeah, but he had another problem.
No, but that's amazing to me, though. You just don't expect to see that out of that team. So.
No, you don't. I mean, a bunch of people there. There was the restart thing with Tyler Reddick. He got in that accordion deal. But the Joe Gibbs slash 2311 Racing team off to a very auspicious start. I mean, right now we just pardon me. We just went through that top 10. How many Toyotas did we name?
One.
Single.
And it was Denny Hamlin.
They're not
probably
off
the guy you would expect up there. Well, Truex was running well early, and then he got I think it was a 2-lap penalty. The wheel came off, which is a new rule this year, where the penalties actually most of it is served during the race as opposed to after the race that they had been doing.
Yeah, but after that, I mean, Bubba Wallace 30th, Christopher Bell 32nd with an accident. With that same
that
deal.
accident really did take out some good cars.
Took out some good cars, but. And oh man, the dinger! I was bragging about the dinger.
Yeah, somebody took the dinger to win his group.
I talked to Dinger. Actually, I listened to Dinger and then talked to him a little bit because he's going to be in the South Point booth on Sunday for us. And I love AJ. And he goes, man, I really wish we would have had at least 5 minutes of practice.
Well, and that is interesting. There was zero practice for anybody this weekend because the weather was horrendous on Saturday over there in Fontana. All right, let's take a look ahead. We talked about the fact that we're going to be going to Las Vegas this weekend, but one thing I love, Brendan, is if you look at this schedule coming up, quite a diverse array of racetracks. We're going to continue the West Coast swing after Vegas, go down and run the 1 mile track at Phoenix, which we know how important that is, given it's also the final race of the year. Then we're going to go to Atlanta, second year racing on the new configuration at Atlanta, the higher speeds. Then the road course at Austin, Texas. And then the first real short track of the season at Richmond. So nice variety of racetracks coming up in the next 5.
Amazing. I mean, look, what can you ask for any better? You got the wet weather package now. Remember, new thing for NASCAR, wet weather package at the miles or shorter. So Phoenix will race in a mild rain, and COTA will race in a mild rain, and so will Richmond. So, I think that's kind of cool. If there's rain now for the folks at home, if it happens, you're still going to probably see the race. Vegas, of course. Man, we've had some weather. Speaking of,
well, we have
supposed to be great for the weekend.
But you know what?
By the way, great for the weekend.
And look, we're recording this on Thursday afternoon, and it was a beautiful day today. I was actually standing outside doing an interview with one of the local TV stations. I had on a black pullover, and I was sweating inside of it. I'm like, wow.
Listen, it's been snowing the mountains, but I'll tell you, you stand at the Speedway right now, beautiful looking at the mountains outside from the Speedway. And at 12:30 kickoff on Sunday, I think it's good. I looked. I think it's supposed to be 60 degrees.
Low 60s, little breeze, little breeze maybe,
but it's still great day for the fans and great schedule coming up. I mean, I think it's awesome.
No, I think it's going to be fantastic. And looking ahead a little bit at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, some of the guys that you got to look at. Well, the two guys who were teammates for years, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, both have 3 wins. They're both one off of tying up Jimmy Johnson for the most wins ever in Las Vegas. And obviously, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr. with a couple of wins. Hamlin, Bowman won this race last year. Kyle Busch has a win, but Kyle's win came 14 years ago.
Long time ago.
14 years ago.
You know, look, I'm looking at a couple of numbers there. Kyle Larson, 9 races, 13 top 10s. Ryan Blaney, we just made the joke. Sorry, Ryan. But, 13 races, 8 top 10s, 5 top 5s. No wins there, but still fantastic. But, man, you go to the top of that board. Kevin Harvick, 13 of 27. Joey Logano, 12 of 19. Joey.
He and Brad both, have just been so good on this track.
8 top 5. I mean, that's I may actually have to bet on Brad Keselowski this week. With those numbers.
Well, he runs so well here. I like to say if you're going to win in Vegas, though, you got to beat Joey Logano right now.
Absolutely.
He's won about 3 of the last 6, or I believe, or like maybe 3 of the last 8. But the other thing with Joey, and we like to joke, he's driving the company car. He's driving the Pennzoil Ford and the Pennzoil 400. So I think if you're going to win this race, to me, you got to get through Joey Logano.
Yeah, 2019, 2020, and 2022. Joey is definitely strong here, and he does love this place. That's strong.
No question about that. Okay, we come back to our second segment of Gone Racing. We'll start breaking down the odds to win, and we'll tell you about the top 3s this weekend for the Pennzoil 400.
This is Gone Racing, VSiN's premier NASCAR betting podcast. Here are your hosts, former NASCAR driver Brendan Gaughan and Las Vegas Motor Speedway's Jeff Motley.
Welcome back to Gone Racing. Brendan's
Professionally unprofessional, our favorite motto right there.
Yeah, except this time it's behind the glass.
No. I get a new TD every week. And this is Isaiah. Isaiah was all confident he's ready to go.
Blaming Isaiah?
Guess what?
Yes.
The guy that you can't see, you always blame that guy.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So, see now Wyatt can turn that little switch and put the camera to him so they can see him now. So we have to go somewhere else, and that is downstairs to our old producer.
Now we should have the downstairs cam. The downstairs cam.
Don't put it on Isaiah.
That's kind of like the stuff they're doing with that new football league. There's cameras like everywhere. It's kind of hard to figure out what you're not looking at. All right, here we are. We're ready to start talking about the odds to win this weekend's Pennzoil 400, presented by Jiffy Lube at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
There you go.
Typical PR guy. I got to get the whole thing in there, right? Favorite to win, last week's winner, Kyle Busch, who hasn't won in Las Vegas in 14 years. He won in 2009. We were talking off air. He didn't even lead then when it was 400 miles. It was a 427-mile race that year because of Shelby being the sponsor of the race. Clint Boyer always felt like he got cheated out of one there. Kyle Larson is plus 700. Ross Chastain and Joey Logano plus 800. Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott 10-1. William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell all at 12-1. Tyler Reddick is 15-1. Kevin Harvick and Alex Bowman 20. Daniel Suarez 25. Bubba Wallace 30. And Eric Jones driving for the kind of the hometown team,
That's
Legacy
right.
Motor Club, co-owned by Las Vegas's Maury Gallagher, coming in there 40-1.
The disparity, one disparity pops out really, really hard to me right there. Ross Chastain is 800. Daniel Suarez is 25-1. Daniel Suarez last week, who was, I'm not going to say as strong as Ross Chastain, but third and fifth in the two stages, and was fast as hell at the end coming. Not going to catch Kyle, but was coming. Went from, I remember I texted you, he was in 11th or something, and all of a sudden he passed Austin Dillon with 3 to go and got all the way to fourth place. He was on fire, and he's 25-1. So I got to look at that right off the bat and go, that one's tough for me not to pass up.
Well, and I thought it was kind of interesting after the race when Suarez said that the car was better than it finished.
Yeah.
He said driver wasn't as good. Driver didn't have a good day. So he finished fourth. Daniel Suarez, who's got one career win, and he had enough wherewithal and wits about him to say the driver wasn't good enough today. That makes you think that there's big things ahead for him coming up this year.
That team looks strong to start this season.
You know, it also kind of, I guess it surprises me a little bit. Now, granted, he has not had a win at Las Vegas, hasn't had tremendous success at Las Vegas. Chase Elliott coming in there at 10-1. He runs well on these type tracks. And the other guy, how about a guy that runs well here? Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin won the fall race here back in 2021. In 2020, when Kurt Busch won, I think everybody pretty much knew Denny really had the best car, and he got a penalty on a pit stop, and he had to go try to pass a bunch of cars.
Remember that? Oh, man, that was that year that he had penalties every freaking race.
And I think he made it all the way up to second or third in that particular race. So Denny Hamlin, over the last few years, has run really, really well in Las Vegas. So that's two guys there that are double digits.
How about your reigning champion of the Pennzoil 400? Alex Bowman's sitting there at 20-1.
You know, I think that's more a result of the way he's run since, because he hasn't won a race since.
Nope, understood.
That's the last.
But still, I mean, it won the last race. I mean, 20-1. That's
he did. I agree, but I think this is more of a reflection of how he's raced lately. And keep in mind, he made a great move on the restart in that race. I mean, really, Kyle Busch had the best car, it seemed like, last year, but then it was Kyle Larson and it was Alex Bowman on that final restart, and Bowman really made a strong move off turn 4 to win that race.
There's a lot of guys here that I'd like to win this race, and it's a hard one. This race especially is hard for me to pick a winner. It's
well,
tough.
And if you think about it, and before we get into the longer odds, if you look at who has won this race in the last just 5 or 6 years, and you look at the manufacturers. Well, Joey Logano's won in a Ford. Denny and Kurt have won in Toyotas.
Ford,
Kyle Larson and
Chevrolets,
Bowman's have won in Chevrolets.
all across the board.
Harvick's won in a Ford. Truex in a Toyota.
Brad Keselowski won in a Ford.
Brad Keselowski in a Ford. So, unlike Fontana, where the Chevys have been so dominant, or unlike a Michigan, where the Fords have always been so dominant, no one really can lay claim to that at Las Vegas.
Vegas is all across the board. Vegas is the equal opportunity. But as we always love to joke, champions win at Vegas.
Well, they do, because we have had 7 winners of the Pennzoil 400 have gone on to win the championship, and last year the winner of the South Point 400 went on to win the championship. All right, let's look at some of the longer odds. Also coming in 40-1 is Chase Briscoe. Brad Keselowski, 50-1.
How about the next number?
50-1. And Austin Dillon with his teammate up there's the favorite coming in 50-1. I mean, there's a chance here. Okay, we'll get through the rest of these and we'll go back and talk about them. Ryan Preece, 60-1. Ty Gibbs, Noah Gragson, Chris Buescher, Austin Cindric, and Eric Almirola all at 80-1. The Daytona 500 winner, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at 100-1, along with A.J. Allmendinger. And Justin Haley, a guy who, Colleague Racing, they seem to get better and better. He's 150-1, and the rest of them are pretty high.
Yeah, man, I'm just looking back.
There's a chance for somebody to really win some big money here, because there are guys on this board that neither one of us would sit up here next week doing this show and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe that guy won.
I'm just going back to the last couple. South Point 400 race. Chase Briscoe, 4th. A.J. Allmendinger, 9th. Not even in the full-time ride. Noah Gragson filling in that 48, 11th. Go back to the South Point 400
Dillon's run
race.
Well here. Austin's
Dillon
had some good runs.
Was 11th in 11th and 10th in the 2 races last year. Justin Haley had a good run at the race last year. I mean, these
DraftKings is just begging some people to come and take their money.
Normally we look at the 100-1s and we just kind of go, eh. But I'm telling you, I can look down at that 100-1 board and would not be shocked. Look, it's a long shot, absolutely. I'm not going to say I'm going to sit here and bet A.J. Allmendinger. But I would not be shocked if an A.J. Allmendinger made a run for it. If an Austin Dillon at 51 made a run for it. If a Chris Buescher, if his car runs as good as Brad's did last week, Chris is good here. I think, and Chase Briscoe, 40-1, same thing.
I just can't believe a guy that's won here 3 times is 50-1. I understand his car maybe hadn't been as good, but the fact he ran 7th last week, had a strong car. We kind of made the point that he spun out last week and still raced all the way back up to 7th. I think that team is starting to get a little better. I think they did a lot of hard work during the offseason. I think it's starting to pay off. All right, let's look at our top 3s. They kind of mirror our odds to win, but they're much, much lower. Kyle Busch plus 170. Kyle Larson a plus 200. Ross Chastain and Joey Logano 240. Blaney, Hamlin, Elliott at 300. Byron, Truex, Bell at 340. Tyler Reddick is 425. Harvick is 600, along with Bowman. Suarez 800. Bubba Wallace 900, Eric Jones 12-1.
Yeah, once again, right? We're talking about how it mirrors it. Okay, but I'll go back to the same, discrepancy. We haven't even gotten to Austin Dillon yet. His teammate is plus 170 for a top 3. His teammate is not even talked about yet. Alex Bowman, the winner, is plus 600 of this race. Daniel Suarez, who was on fire in the language of my muchachito, en fuego last week at the end of that race, and he is plus 800. I mean, there are some amazing, amazing numbers here that really make me want to jump up and go,
It's almost like there's so many numbers up there. There's so many guys that you're like, which one do I pick?
Which one do I get?
Pick, right?
I'm guaranteeing you, one of these, we will have one of our big I'm going to make a prediction here, a bold prediction. One of our top 3s, at least one, is going to be one of our, that we, when we always talk about getting a triple-digit or a double-digit top 3 guy. I think we could end up with one of these plus 800s or above top 3 guys. I really do feel that way, Jeff.
No question about it in my mind. In addition to Jones being 12-1, Chase Briscoe also coming in at 12-1. Then we'll start talking about some of those guys that we were talking about. They're high odds to win, but heck, top 3 is a lot easier to get than to win, and these numbers are pretty good. Brad Keselowski and Austin Dillon both at 15-1. Ryan Preece is 17. Ty Gibbs, Gregson, Buescher, Cindric, Almirola all at 20. Stenhouse and Allmendinger 30. Haley is 40. McDowell is 50, along with Harrison Burton. Ty Dillon and Todd Gilliland coming in there at 100-1. Now we're talking about Brad Keselowski, the 4-time winner, at 15-1. And Austin Dillon, whose teammate is the favorite to win, 15-1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going through here. I mean, heck, even Eric Jones last year in the before it was Legacy, the GMS car, the Petty GMS car, was 8th in this race last year, and this is one of his better tracks. He's run well here going back to his Gibbs days. So I mean, we got some guys here that there is really good returns. I mean, I am zeroing in on that Austin Dillon 15, as strong as RCR has been to start this season. I mean, 3 different style racetracks, been super strong. Both drivers, him and Daniel Suarez, to me right now, are just screaming, pick me, pick me.
Well, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, I think when you look at this particular board right here, obviously the 2 guys to me that jump out the most are Brad Keselowski and Austin Dillon, and
Absolutely.
They're both at 15-1. But, I mean, look, I don't think either one of us would be surprised if either one of them won the race.
No.
Much less being able to come in here and pick up a top 3.
But I'll take a 15-1 on both of them for a top 3 and say, thank you very much. I don't need to get just one position. You cover me 3 spots, and hey, both of them could be top 3, and we could end up, really happy.
Yeah, it'll be a nice payday if you could get
Yes,
that.
it would.
All right, we come back on Gone Racing, start talking about the driver head-to-heads, and we'll get to mine and Brendan's favorites, the group match. That's what they are, the groups, yes.
This is Gone Racing, VSiN's premier NASCAR betting podcast. Here are your hosts, former NASCAR driver Brendan Gaughan and Las Vegas Motor Speedway's Jeff Motley.
Want to rewatch any part of today's show or any past show? Check out the Gone Racing podcast. It's free and available now at VSiN.com/podcast or wherever you get your podcast. We give you all the latest news, odds, and everything you need to know to head to the betting counter before each NASCAR Cup Series race. And while you're there, catch up on all the other VSiN shows as well. That's VSiN.com/podcasts. Back here on Gone Racing, breaking down the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas Motor Speedway this weekend. One of our 2 favorite race weekends of the year.
Best weekend. It's not just ours. It's the best 2 weekends of the NASCAR Cup Series schedule. I mean, does anybody argue with that?
No. How could you argue with it? It's Vegas, baby, right?
That's right.
It's Vegas,
Who
baby.
can argue? What other city is better than Vegas?
Exactly.
Well, we said that why we argued for 2 races all these years, right?
Exactly.
I mean, if there's 2 races, no offense to some of these other towns, but would you rather go to, East Aboga, Alabama, or Richmond, Virginia, or hey, let's go to Vegas and catch a show while we're at it?
Well, and I think it's fair to say we're in the great city where we've got 2 NASCAR races. We have a Formula One race coming. We're going to have the Super Bowl coming. We're going to have the Final Four coming. We've had the NFL draft. We're going to one day get a college football national championship game. Greatest city in America. We love Las Vegas. That's why we're here.
I agree.
All right, let's get to our driver head-to-heads. Kind of looking through these here, it's a little bit of an all over the board here. We don't really have that there's total bet the don't line.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I mean, Kyle Busch has a couple don't lines. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Kyle Busch has a couple don't lines up there, but then it's just two lines against Larson and Chastain, which, okay, I mean, we get that. But then Larson's back on a negative line to Denny Hamlin. They are across the board. But I think, once again, not Daytona and Talladega, right? Not where we're talking even money everywhere. There are some ones that I do like here, and one of them is Christopher Bell, plus 110 to Blaney's minus 130. Blaney is very, very good here. Do not get me wrong. 5 top 10s last 10 races. But Seabell, after coming off that, just an awful start to this season, I think that Seabell comes with a big rebound. I like the plus 110.
I tell you, I don't know that there's really anything here that I really, really like. I do think the fact that a guy the caliber of Kyle Larson is getting a plus 120 against Kyle Busch, that one makes me pause for a second because
it's Kyle Larson. I mean, Kyle Larson any second is going to be exactly. He's only a year and a half, 2 years removed from his championship. How about your current Pennzoil 400 reigning Pennzoil 400 champion though, Alex Bowman getting even money to Tyler Reddick, who, look, if this was last year and all the stuff we talked about with Tyler, how well he was running at RCR. This is a different time, right? He was 7th last year in the Pennzoil 400. Okay, but even money for your reigning champion. There's a good head-to-head bet. And as we know, the pit crew has used that to their advantage this year already.
Yeah, they actually used that in Daytona, I believe. Got to win for it.
I think both of our wins this year have been off of matchup bets.
I mean, it cashes a ticket, right? I mean, Uncle Brett, cash tickets, it does it. So doesn't have to be big. Cash a ticket is cashing a ticket.
All right, let's move ahead and take a look at our group matchups here. Coming in with our Group A, Kyle Busch is the favorite. No big surprise, I guess. Kyle Larson plus 260, Ross Chastain plus 285. And the guy runs pretty well here, plus 325. The dog in this group is Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've Kyle Busch. I'm super high on Kyle Busch. I'm super high on Kyle Larson, and I'm super high on Ross Chastain. But you're telling me that Denny Hamlin in this group belongs at 325? I mean, this is a man who's been 3rd, 4th, 1st, 32nd, where the transmission blew out of it, and 5th in the last 4 races. He's led 120, 47, 130, 31, and 5 laps. What 325?
Yeah. No, and it's funny. You and I talk often about how we typically tend to stay away from Group A.
Last couple Group A's have been very, very tempting.
Well, and look, last week, the winner and the second place guy came out of Group B.
Yeah.
So the Group A didn't even have the winner of the race. But, I'm kind of with you. The Denny Hamlin at plus 325 makes me go, But at the same time, the guy who's the favorite in this group is plus 230. He's not plus 170. He's not plus 185. He's plus 230. That's not a bad number, even on Kyle Busch, to be in Group A.
No, it's not. I like the top and the bottom of that one. And the 230 and 325, I like them both. Larson and Chastain are tough. We'll see how long. I mean, look, if Trackhouse can keep this up, you're going to make the world believers in Trackhouse. We keep kind of saying, there's still something that just holds you back yet from that Trackhouse. They haven't become that Legacy Motor Club. They haven't become that legacy team yet, that we think of. But man, if they keep this thing up, we're going to have to start seriously considering that being a real legit.
Clearly, the cars are good, and they got 2 young, very motivated, talented and motivated drivers.
Nope, absolutely.
All right, let's move along to Group B. Like we said, Group B last week gave us our first and second place finishers at Fontana. Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney are co-favorites at plus 260. Christopher Bell plus 280. Martin Truex Jr. plus 285. And Brendan, before you jump in, all I'm saying is, give me Joey, because you give me a plus 260 on Joey Logano against these three guys. How do I not take that?
I agree, but I have one problem here, and you're going to laugh when I give you my one problem. The guy that I picked as the what do we call it, the disappointment of the season. What have you done for me lately? Martin has not done a lot for us lately, right? At Vegas, he still performed. 4th, 6th, 4th, 8th, and 7th. I mean, Martin
and
Truex,
he's also won in Vegas. I think
just before that. Yeah, 2019.
Wins, right?
So, I mean, here's a guy that in the last 10 races, 9 top 10s, 5 top 5s, and a win in 10 races. Average finish of 6.5. Even though, what have you done for me lately? I get it, Martin Truex. He still has been getting it done at Vegas. So that's the only knock I can say. Now, who's the best?
I was going to say, as a stat man, how about reading off Joey Logano's stats now?
Now, here's the thing. Joey Logano, 10 races, 7 top 10s to Martin's 9. 4 top 5s to Martin's 5. 3 of those are wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Only one of those are wins for. So, I mean, like I said, average finish for Joey Logano 7.1, average finish for Martin 6.5 in the last 10 races. Just saying, I could make an argument for Martin Truex Jr., even though he had picked him to be the disappointment, even though, he's been struggling lately. This is a track he hasn't struggled on.
Well, I agree with you there, but boy,
I'm just being devil's advocate for you.
I know. I just really like Logano here, to say the least. All right, taking a look at Group C. Wow, we find Chase Elliott down in Group C this week.
Man,
he is the favorite at plus 245. William Byron and Kevin Harvick both at plus 270, and Tyler Reddick coming in at a plus 305. Boy, the favorite is pretty tempting, but he hasn't been great in Vegas.
No, he hasn't been great in Vegas. And Kevin Harvick, we go off the what have you done for me lately? Lately, 9th, 12th, 12th. So not as strong as the Harvick we remember, here. And Tyler Reddick, to me, is the wild card. I mean, if we get the Tyler Reddick that we expected him to be over there at 23.11, I would jump on the Tyler Reddick at 305. But I just, this is a tough one. Chase Elliott, though, I mean, what is he, 2 years? I mean, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, right? Last 3 champions. Talking about Chase Elliott, I mean, in Group C, man, it's tough to turn down Chase Elliott Group C, isn't it?
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's a tough one to pass up for sure. All right, let's take a look at Group D. Daniel Suarez. Now we talked about these numbers. He's plus 260 favorites. He's plus 280 favorites. Suarez is a favorite in Group D at plus 220. Bubba comes in at plus 280. Austin Dillon plus 295. And Brad Keselowski plus 305 in this group.
I'm super bummed that they put Daniel Suarez and Austin Dillon and Brad K all in the same group, because you're looking, this is the Westgate, of course, we're doing, and you're looking at 3 guys on VSiN right here that you're talking about, guys that we talk about every week as guys that are great to bet on. Brad K, of course, is the pit crew favorite. We've been bragging about Austin and Daniel Suarez, and you put them all in one group for us. Can we make a call? Can we make a call and say, listen?
It makes it really hard to want to pick this group.
It makes me hard because there's Daniel Suarez was just killing it last week. Dang
All right, let's move along to our Group E, where it is, shall we say, pretty close.
Yes.
Eric Jones,
yes.
Ryan Preece, Ty Gibbs, all at plus 270, and Noah Gragson just a tick behind him at plus 275. It's so you got both of the legacy Motor Club cars in there. You got Ty Gibbs, who is in a good car, we think, and Ryan Preece, who honestly he's run pretty well and just had some misfortune in both of the first 2 races.
I mean, I could point out again that Noah was 11th. He has a Cup start in this car at Las Vegas Motor Speedway and finished 11th. Pretty good stuff.
He and Ty Gibbs both ran the race last fall, subbing for injured drivers.
Subbing for drivers. But Eric Jones, to me, right there. Eric was 8th in that same race at the South Point 400 race. Eric Jones, 4 starts. I talked about him earlier. 4 top 10s, 10 starts. I tend to like Eric Jones in that. I just look at the drivers' names. Those guys just aren't. It's Eric Jones against 3. I'm not calling Ryan Preece a rookie. Don't let me call Ryan Preece a rookie, Jeff. Ryan Preece is not a rookie, but
right, he doesn't have the yellow stripe on his bumper like Ty and Noah do.
But he's been gone for a little bit.
Correct.
Now he's back. And Ty and Noah, rookies, 3rd race of the year. Eric Jones, the veteran in that, getting 270, not getting 220, getting 270.
Yeah, I can see all the points on that one. I honestly think Preece has got a chance to win this group here, but this one's a tough call for me. All right, we'll be back on Gone Racing. We'll go our final group, and we'll give you our picks.
This is Gone Racing, VSiN's premier NASCAR betting podcast. Here are your hosts, former NASCAR driver Brendan Gaughan and Las Vegas Motor Speedway's Jeff Motley.
Welcome back to our final segment of this week's Gone Racing.
Thank goodness.
Pennzoil 400 week. Thank goodness.
They're done with us.
Are you in a hurry?
They're almost done with us.
You got dinner reservations?
No, actually, Connie Carroll from Sparco is coming to measure the kids for new fire suits. You know what the worst thing in the world is, by the way? Buying fire suits for 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds. Because you know why? They grow out of them as fast as my fat butt did every year.
So it's a pain because it's expensive.
Yeah. But fortunately, thanks, Sparko. Love you.
So Brendan's hoping there will be a lot of losing bets on the race this week here at the South Point Sportsbook.
Wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Throw me a bone, would you?
Yeah. So our final group is our Group F, which we find our good old buddy Chris Buescher in Group F.
What's he got to do to get out of Group F? Goodness gracious.
I don't know, but he's there with his buddy AJ Allmendinger. They're both at plus 255. Eric Almirola's plus 285. And Austin Cindric, the guy who I said was going to be a disappointment this year, has fallen to the bottom of Group F, by the way, plus 295. Boy, look, you know what? Buescher keeps cashing tickets. Buescher keeps winning money. I'm on the Buescher train.
Here's
right
my
now.
problem. I'm going to brag about AJ Allmendinger again, right? Finished top 10 in the South Point for 100 race. I think that I expect great things out of AJ. They had a rough start at California. Okay. But I literally sat here when I was making my picks, Jeff, and I said, Chris Buescher has cashed more tickets on this show than any single driver we talk about. If we go back and record the 5 years of Gone Racin', I guarantee you Chris Buescher has cashed the most tickets because they keep him in these groups like this. And if you got Chris Buescher at 255 in Group F, no matter how much I like AJ Allmendinger, I am jumping on Chris Buescher in Group F.
Love me some Chris Buescher, Group F. I'm with you. All right, let's get to our prop. Our prop is our manufacturer prop. Guess what, Brendan? There's a minus line out there. But now I'm surprised because we talked earlier about how many all the manufacturers have run well in Vegas.
I don't disagree. But you look at what happened last week at California, where 4 of the top 5 were Chevrolets.
Which always happens at California.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying.
Now, and we just talked about how many across the board we were on manufacturer Vegas. But let me talk about last year. Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, William Byron, 1, 2, 3, 5 in the Pennzoil 400. Let's go to the South Point 400. Yes, Joey Logano won the race. Ross Chastain second, and no other Chevys. So why are they minus 125?
That's what I'm
because
asking
what have
you.
you
I
done
feel
for
like
me
it's a who's on first situation up here.
I am right now. You'd look at that. I actually, for the first time ever, may take a manufacturer prop, and I may actually jump on that Ford plus 290 because Joey Logano is, as you said, one of the hottest guys here at Las Vegas. Statistically, right now, in the last 10 races, the best. So I may have to jump on that 290.
Well, and that's it. It's a plus 290 for Ford, plus 280 for Toyota against that minus 125 of Chevy. I don't know that I'm going to pick this one, but boy, I do like the Ford pick here. Speaking of picks, okay, Brendan.
Let's talk about picks.
I'm just going to let you.
Can we talk about last week?
Let you gloat.
Can we
now.
talk about last week?
You can go.
Now's your
time.
championship.
You can talk about last week.
Listen, I got beat so bad last year that at least give me. Do we have a spotlight in this? Like just one? Can we turn the lights off and just give like one for 1 week?
Like a duh.
Yeah, like I mean, come on. I got to take the W's.
Really?
If you're watching the Gone Racin'
that was a good one.
podcast, you will see the pit crew's favorite picture, the Karina.
The
Isaiah
guns on
and Wyatt.
Isaiah too. I mean, come on, where did that come?
Isaiah's been hitting a lot of buys and tries.
Is that a
every day.
mullet on Wyatt?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Wyatt's got going
No,
on
that's
there.
that's
It's a
just
party.
long flow,
It's a
long flow.
party in the back going on right
Got a party
there
in
with
the back.
Wyatt.
And Karina, she's got the, okay.
Yeah, okay. We'll take a look. Last week, the only one I got right was Kyle getting the top 3, but it was at least enough to keep me above water. Brendan, you came home with Kyle winning his Group B, as well as that guy, Chris Buescher,
Cash me a ticket.
winning Group F. So cashed you a ticket there. Pit crew got a winner with Truex over Larson in a head-to-head, and I will give the pit crew a little credit. Tough losses there. Suarez for a top 3. He finishes 4th in the race. Elliott to win Group B. He finishes 2nd in the race and only loses out to the guy who wins the race, who was in Group B. So a tough one a little bit there. So our overall standings, though, something we have not seen in a long time. Brendan stands at the top of the standings. The pit crew is 2nd, but I am hot on their heels. But unfortunately, I'm in last place.
So do I get to pick? Oh, wait.
You just
I don't
hold your
hold on.
horses right now.
Hold on. Is this like the first? I actually have to point this out. This might be the first time in, 9 or 10 race weeks that I don't have to pick first. So I just want to make sure I point that out here. I'm kind of happy that I actually.
The pressure's all on you now.
All right, so I'm going to go first. I'm picking two top 3s. I'm taking Ross Chastain at plus 240 for a top 3. And I'm going to do a little long shot here, and I'm going to go Brad Keselowski at 15-1 for a top 3.
Joining Wyatt and the pit crew.
That very well could happen. You never know. I cannot leave Joey Logano in Group B at plus 260 out there. So I'm going Joey in Group B. I'm going to Group C. I'm taking that Chase Elliott again. You give me Chase Elliott in Group C. I got to take that. And then I'm not going to let you win money on Chris Buescher without getting in on the party if you decide to bet him. So I'm in on Chris Buescher in Group F.
You see me over here scratching things out as he was going too.
See, that's the
I did
advantage
scratch
of
a few
getting to
out,
go last here.
Well, it wasn't even from you. I'm thinking in my head. And
No,
so
you're thinking if Jeff picked it, I sure as hell am not going to pick it.
So I had to make a last minute change. But please, Wyatt, do I go? Oh no, that's right. I don't go second.
Oh, yeah, we got to wait on the pick.
So the spoiler, the surprise of the week, no Brad K picks. I got to keep you guys thinking. Got to keep you guys guessing. I don't want you to know what I'm going with here.
What would the odds have been, Brendan? What would you have set that?
The don't would have been a massive underdog there.
Yeah.
Look. Wow. We had a rough week last week, but I got some help this week. And also, Karina really wanted Kyle Busch last week.
Have we not sat here many weeks before and looked at Wyatt and he says, I'm not allowed to bet him till Brad gets a top. That's my deal with the pick crew.
He's in my back pocket now.
So now what happens, though, if Brad has a bad race this week? Well, then he can't use it
No. It's still with. You can't take it. No takes back.
It's in perpetuity now.
Oh, so it's a save top 10.
Yes.
Okay.
Save.
Is it 1 for 1 or is it?
I can only have one.
So it's one top 10 for one bet for one top 10.
Isaiah just said if he wins, I get 3. Now, if that happens, we're doing a Gone Racin show just talking about each lap of the race for Brad.
I gave Wyatt some passes for this weekend. I'm afraid that there could be an encounter between he and Brad Keselowski.
We need to have security.
Okay, well, second, if Dale Earnhardt Jr. is there first, then that's
but he won't be here this weekend.
Okay,
so
well,
therefore we're going to beef up the security.
I'm going to call Brad, tell him just watch out for the guy beard wearing UNLV women's basketball stuff.
There you go.
There you go.
Hey.
Right.
22 in the country. All right, our picks for this week. We're going to go. This is from Karina. Daniel Suarez, top 3.
Karina made all these picks this week?
No, just that one.
Just that one.
Just that one.
Okay.
Denny Hamlin over Kyle Larson at plus 120. Ross Chastain to win Group A at plus 285. Joey Logano to win Group B at plus 260. And Chris Buescher to win Group F at plus 255. And Brendan, I really hope you don't have Buescher to win Group F.
Well, that will be the kiss of death for Buescher.
I was going to say the kiss of death. Dang it, I may have to scratch something out again. God, you're killing me. Do I have to go ahead? Do I just?
Well, this is not the Academy Awards. You don't have to sit here and milk it to open the envelope.
Okay, so I'm going to start out with the bet that I've had the whole time. Daniel Suarez top 3. I really do like that Daniel Suarez top 3 bet. Really strong after last week. I want to keep that. I had an Austin Dillon top 3 and I scratched it out because I want to save that for the prop. I want to do the Ford prop. I'm going to do Ford to win the race at plus 290. I think that I'm putting a lot of eggs on the Joey Logano basket in that, but I do believe that basket can come through. So I'm going to jump on that. Then I'm going to stay in the groups for the rest of mine. I am going to go Group B, same thing. Joey Logano in Group B at the 260 number. Hard to pass that up.
All 3 of us. There's the kiss of death on Joey Logano.
Then Group E, Eric Jones at plus 270. For the aforementioned reasons I gave there. And then I have Chris Buescher right now. I've got, a minute and a half to
Well, unless we're going to have a wrap-up.
Do I go against everybody and just go dinger just to be contrarian?
It's your money. Well, it's your unit.
Technically, you're in first. So you can we won't gain ground if we all win the same bets.
If we all lose the same bet, though, I don't lose any more ground.
That's right. That's true.
This is not great for radio here.
No, it is not. It's very, very bad for radio. Yeah. All right.
If they could see the sweat running down your forehead right now, it would be a lot better.
I'm going to poop or get off the pot, and I'm going Chris Buescher because it's Chris Buescher.
All right, so there's 2 picks out there that we all 3 picked the same pick. So Logano and Buescher, we all have them. So if there's any ground to be made up, it's going to be made up somewhere else. All right, we got less than a minute to go. Pennzoil 400, triple header weekend, trucks, Xfinity, Cup.
And Brexton Busch's debut.
Busch running the Bandolero over at the Bull Ring on Saturday afternoon. Kyle's running all 3 races, trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. So go bet Kyle in all 3 races. But I bet
hey, can you have is there a 4 bet? Brexton, Kyle?
I don't know what the odds would be on Brexton. We might need to get somebody that's smarter than us on that one.
Hauler Parade tonight. Let's not forget.
Hauler Parade Thursday night down the strip. All the haulers are still parked at the South Point right now while we're doing this show. By the time people hear it, it'll probably be over. Race this Sunday, Pennzoil 400. Sunday,
that's right.
Sunday, 3:30 p.m. So, okay. Hope everybody tunes in. 3:30. Oh, it's Eastern time. Anyway, we'll see you next week. We'll break down the Pennzoil and talk about Phoenix.